Hello authors, welcome to Miss Nasripour's library. This is one of my favorite places in my apartment. And today we're gonna do one of my favorite things to do. We're gonna read. We're gonna read this new book called Oceans and Seas. Now, if you were to ask any author what their favorite thing to do is, I bet most of them would say, at least in their top 3, that their favorite things is reading. People who write love to read. One of the best things you can do for yourself as an author is to read other people's writing. So today we're going to read a kind of a book that we haven't been reading too much together yet. It's called, again, Oceans and Seas by Nicola Davies. And before we get started, we're going to get our minds ready to know what this book is about by looking at the text features. We're going to start with the blurb. Find out more about your world with Science Kids. Investigate the world of science with this remarkable series. Stunning photographs zoom in on intriguing details while lively text explores facts about familiar subjects. Fun and easy to follow projects provide plenty of opportunity to learn more with activities to do at home. Sounds fun, and I already know that so many of my friends from my classroom are gonna love this book, because one of the things almost all of you said you were looking forward to this year was science. So, here's another text feature that can really help you get ready to know what you're gonna read about. It's the table of contents. Remember from 2nd grade, a table of contents is kind of like a map of everything you're gonna read about. It's got all of the sections, titles that you're gonna read about, we call those headings, and also the page numbers. So you can see right away that we're gonna start with reading on page 6, Planet Ocean, then on page 8, Salty Seas, page 10, we're moving into the underwater landscape, and then on 12, Tides and Waves. And that's what we're gonna read together today, those 3 sections. And as I open it up and I take a look, I can see those stunning photographs that the blurb was talking about on the back. And I can see some captions. Remember, captions tell us, they're little sentences that tell us what the picture is mostly about. So the one pointing to the map says an ocean is a large sea. And then down here I see another text feature. Do you see that? It's an important bolded word. Authors often bold words because they want their readers to really focus on those because they'll be important in the text. This one is predators, animals that hunt and eat other animals. So let's get started reading. Only 1/3 of the earth is dry land. So our planet looks blue when you see it from space. The rest of the planet is made up of water, and there is life in every ocean and sea. This caption says, sunlit surface. The ocean's surface is full of tiny plants and animals called plankton, which bigger creatures, such as these jellyfish, eat. Staying hidden. Many animals like this octopus prefer the deeper water of the middle ocean. There they can hide from predators and be safe from storms. Deep and dark. The deepest waters are completely dark and cold. Food is hard to find, so animals there have big mouths and eat anything. So 3rd graders, right away I'm seeing that there's levels to the ocean. There's the surface where jellyfish might live, the middle ocean where these really cute octopi live, and then at the very, very deep ocean are these big-mouthed fish. On to the next section, salty seas. All seas and oceans are salty with around 1.2 ounces of salt in every 35 ounces of water. That is as salty as 1 large spoonful of salt in half a bucket of water. Not very tasty to drink. Saltiest sea. The Dead Sea in Asia, remember Asia is a continent, the Dead Sea in Asia is so salty that when its water is turned into vapor by the sun, the salt that is left behind is hard white lumps. Oh, that's the That's the salt from the ocean. So what that means, what vapor is when the water gets hot, steam, kind of like steam, goes up into the sky. We call that condensation. And when the water is evaporating and turning into vapor, it leaves behind, look, looks like rocks. Oh, there we go. That's the definition of vapor. A mist or gas given off when something is heated. Oh, I can see another important bolded word that we're probably going to need on the next page. Volcanic. From a volcano or area where molten rock or steam comes to the surface. And there I can see the volcano. Salty sources. Volcanic hotspots on land and on the seabed add salt to seawater when they release hot gases and molten rock. Rivers wash salt from the land into the seas and oceans. So that's telling us of two ways that salt gets into the water. One is from these volcanoes, and another one is when it gets washed in from rivers. Next up, grains of salt. You see that? Some of the salt we put on our food comes from the sea. Sea salt is broken up into small pieces so that we can sprinkle it on our food. And boy, is it yummy. Next section, page 10, underwater landscapes. So third graders, what I'm noticing is that the author gives us a heading that tells us what we're gonna read about, and then everything underneath that heading on both pages matches what the author told us we're gonna read about. It's another way to help us get ready and really comprehend. Remember, to comprehend means to understand. It really helps us to comprehend what we're reading. Underwater landscapes. How beautiful that is. Definitely stunning photography. Hidden below the sea is a world of high mountains, wide plains, and deep valleys. An entire landscape as interesting and varied as the one on dry land. Flattest and deepest. Almost half of the deep seabed is a very flat abyssal plain. Even deeper are the ocean trenches, which plunge more than 32,000 feet below the surface. And then there is a definition for abyssal plain, a large flat area of land on the seabed. Mountaintop islands. When volcanoes form on the seabed, they grow into mountains. These can get so tall that they stick out of the sea and form islands. That reminds me of Moana. Black smokers. Deep seawater is usually very cold, but at volcanic spots called black smokers, water 3 times hotter than boiling water gushes through cracks in the seabed. So that is what the landscape or what the ocean bed looks like. Very interesting. And the last one we're going to read today is called Tides and Waves. And I can see a bolded word at the bottom. Let's go ahead and read that. Coasts, shores, places where seas or oceans and land meet. Seawater is always moving. It is stimulated by the heat of the sun and the cold of the ice at the North and South poles, pushed by winds and pulled by the sun and the movement of the moon. That's what we call a tide. A tide is affected by the movement of the moon. It brings the water in and it sends the water back out. Windy waves. Look, you can see this guy surfing. Remember, together we learned that surfing was created in Hawaii. Windy waves. When wind blows over water, it makes waves. Strong winds blowing for a long time create the biggest waves, which can be up to 112 feet high. Just to help you understand what that means, kind of. I'm 5 feet. Can you imagine how tall 112 feet would be? Tide out, tide in. Oh, here we're going to learn more about the tides and the pull of the moon. And you can see they've captioned these pictures with tide out and tide in. The moon pulls water toward it as it travels around Earth, causing the seas and oceans to move away from the coasts. This movement causes tides. Most tides happen twice each day. The sea moves away from the shore, tide out, and then back again, tide in. So when the water is moving away from the shore, we say the tide is out. When it's returning back to the shore, we say it's tide in. And you can see when it's tide out that there's lots of the seabed that is showing, that is exposed. Eating away land. In some places, waves wash away beaches and cliffs, changing the shape of the coastline in just a few days. And here, take a peek at these homes. Can you see this one? It's falling into the sea because so much of the coast has been washed away. Where I'm from in Florida, that's a big problem we have to think about a lot. Oh man, third graders, I really hope that you enjoyed these first few sections in oceans and seas. This is a very interesting book to me. Go ahead and pause the video and think with your class, how is this book different than the other books that we've been reading, like Cherries and Cherry Pits that we read today, or Pain and the Great One that we read last week? Pause the video and with your class talk about it. Okay, third graders, so I hope that with your class you came to the conclusion that Cherries and Cherry Pits and Pain and the Great One, these were all imaginative, made-up stories. We call that fiction. I say it, you say it, fiction. But this is not imaginative, nor is it made up. These are real facts about something that is real in the world. Oceans and Seas is nonfiction. I say it, you say it, nonfiction. Now, this is a special kind of nonfiction. It's called expository nonfiction, and that explains something or gives you facts about something. Tomorrow when we come together, we're gonna read a whole different kind of nonfiction. What you're gonna do now is a quick write. So what that means is you're gonna have a little bit of time to brainstorm with your class all the many different nonfiction topics that you all might be interested in writing about as authors. Then on your own paper, you're going to write your own list of nonfiction topics that get you excited and interested and that you might want to write about as an author. All right, third graders, thanks so much for joining me for this book, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.